Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Henry Lansky of Howell Hockey. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Well, obviously, I know last night was not what you guys wanted. A tough loss to CC after in the state championship game, but it was also Howell's first state title game since 2010. Obviously, the obviously they went to the state finals 5 years ago, but obviously that didn't happen because of COVID. But I think also just the run that you guys have been on. Just reflect back on this. I don't know if you've had, I know it just happened yesterday, and I don't know if you've had time to reflect back on the year, but what was last night like, and just to be in the big moment, on the big stage against quite arguably one of, if not the best program in all of high school hockey right now in Catholic Central.
Yeah, last night was a lot of fun. It was crazy and ton of fans. They're a great team that we played against, very deep in the depth. But this year was a lot of fun too. We had some great moments. We had a slow start to the season, but we came up. I think we now have the longest winning and unbeaten record in Howell history. So the year was a lot of fun. We kept getting better as the year went on, and we made state finals, which was awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, you just mentioned all that. I mean, playing in the state finals is one thing. Getting there is an app. You got to get there first. Um, and you it was on the brink in the semifinal game against and really just throughout this playoff run. You got to go back to the Clarkston game. You got to go back to other playoff games, and then to have everyone contribute there. But can you just describe like what this run was like, and probably, if not the most successful season for Howell hockey? And what was it just like to be a part of the ride? And the first year under Keith Robertson as head coach. Um, what was it just like to be a part of and just be on this run with this team?
The playoff run was great. I thought it was really special what we did. We Keith is a great coach.
Yeah.
Every game he'd watch the team we're playing, multiple different games of them. He'd pull clips, we'd run some video, and the practice before we'd uh, pull out a scheme to try and limit their top players. And really, we pulled our defensive structure was our probably our biggest thing all year. We weren't a team that scored a ton, but defensively we were strong. And a lot of our run was great. We had a really close game with Clarkston, which a 2-1 game where the leads just switched, and it defensively is what pulled us through that game. It was a ton of fun playing at Munn and then going to USA playing against Salem in a really close game. We thought we had it pretty much sealed 4-1, and then their top line, some some of the best players in high school just came through and scored three unanswered for them. Luckily, we got the game winner in OT, which sent us to the finals and got us to the state championship.
Yeah. I mean, what was going through your head like against, can you just describe what was like going through your head during all that when you were up and then they came back and tied it up and all that, like what was going through your head throughout all that, and getting the having another freshman, that's the theme of it with you guys lately, come through and get it done for Howell. What was that Salem game like from your perspective?
Yeah, the Salem game was a great game. I thought we played amazing the first two periods. Defensively, we completely limited their top line and Kaminsky, who is just a great player overall. He We limited them completely. Didn't have many scoring chances for either team, I really thought. And we just yeah, we pulled through. We got through there. Then the third period, we got the fourth goal off Luke's penalty just falling in. So I felt like after the third, I personally, I felt like we had the game in our hands and I kind of sat back a little bit. I think it was probably the same for at least a few of my teammates. We sat back, we thought we had the game just completely sealed.
Yeah.
And then they came through and got three unanswered, which sucked. I was in my head a little bit, but once we got to the end of the third, going into OT, I got to settle myself a little bit, get back into it, and really just lock it down until my team could come through and score. And Dan got the overtime winner on a broken play, and it really just was an awesome moment.
It's always that last game on the state finals, because that game the last 3 years it has gone to overtime. Everybody remembers the classic Brighton Heartland game from 2 years ago, and then the Brighton Clarkston game last year, and of course the Howell Salem game this year. I mean, it doesn't disappoint. So, and it always involves the Livingston County team. I asked a bunch of guys this week when before the state finals. You've seen Heartland make their runs. You've seen Brighton make their runs. Now it was your turn um, to have the support from everybody. I mean, I've never seen like, this is I mean, I know a lot of teams and cities do a lot for them, but I think it's just different in Howell because you had a big parade, I think it was, or a little bit, or a big
Yeah,
send off that you guys had both days, and it was just it's eerily similar to how they with everything that happened with the football team this year, and what was that like to just receive all the support from the community? Because it just Livingston County is just different with with Heartland, Brighton, and Howell. It's just with all the support that you guys get.
yeah, the community was great. Both days we got a police escort through town with
Yeah.
people honking horns, and we got a little get together there, everyone seeing us off, and then we get to the rink. It's packed. It was both days. We had a, a giant crowd,
Yeah.
and it just made it all the more special. The student section, which I personally thought was kind of small all year for our games with how we were doing,
Yeah.
was massive for the semis and state and finals.
Yeah.
It was a great crowd. We pulled so many people, even like just residents of Howell. They all showed up
Absolutely.
and gave us what I thought was probably the best, community we could have had. And it was just amazing to see.
Absolutely. I know maybe the crowds may be small, but there's I know you played on nights where basketball was happening or who knows and plus plus 140 ice den is doesn't fit a lot of people. So, but when you get to USA, that the community will show up in droves and they did. I was walking around there last night. It was you couldn't find your way through there. You had to literally just get through people and yeah, it was insane. It was just like the last few years that, whenever ever since the D1 semifinal game, there's always a lot of people and Livingston County shows up either it's Heartland, it's Brighton or it's Howell. You're always going to get a good crowd. And there's nothing like the Howell student section. Nothing like it because they definitely provide an advantage no matter what sport it is. So that is you guys always have some great fans. That is for sure. Um,
Yeah.
to remember, as a goaltender, like, what's your mindset like before a game? Like, how do you mentally get ready for a game?
I personally always have the same warm up, what I do.
Yeah,
On the bus, we always take a bus there, a bus ride. I'm always just listening to music, trying to get some sleep, get myself ready back into it, whether we had school that day earlier or it's just a weekend game. I'm always trying to just like reset my mind, it, like go blank. And then when I get to the rink, just completely focus in. I do racquetball warm ups and other tracking stuff to get myself ready, movement, stretching. just I always keep my warmth the exact same, so there's nothing like different changing. I want to be as consistent as possible in every game.
Yeah. What was the biggest thing that you saw improvement in this year with yourself?
Myself, a lot. I think it was dealing with crowds really for myself.
Yeah.
I know in the first few games, especially against Salem, our that was our second game we lost. It was our only regulation loss. They really got in my head and rattled me a bit because they're a team that loves talking. They have crowds that are constantly yelling at you, which was something I'd never had to deal with because I played AAA, which doesn't pull crowds at all. And that was something I really saw improvement in as the year went on, that don't let outside things or players talking get in your head. Just keep keep everything out, keep yourself consistent, don't let anything affect you.
Absolutely. To be like I know I asked you this earlier, but as you reflect back, what's the biggest thing you're going to remember about this season and this team that you were a part of?
The biggest thing I'm going to remember is just the commitment we had. Everyone, especially in the finals, the games and playoffs, everyone buying in and coming as hard as they can every day, like putting in the work, especially like the semifinal game. Everyone coming in, we wanted to get Salem back. They were again our only regulation loss all year.
Yeah,
It was, it was a revenge game for us, and I thought we really all bought in. The team was ready to go all the time. I'll remember everyone for that. And another thing I remember is the Brighton game. That was a ton of fun. Everyone was excited to go. It was a rivalry. We won. It was one of the best memories I have of the year.
absolutely. So, um, with the season now coming for a close, I know, I don't know how much, I know, there's a lot of things that are coming up for you guys. I know there's still some things left to do on the hockey side of things. So, what are the next few weeks going to be like for you?
I'm actually not too sure yet. I know, at least for the school point of it for hockey, I'm not too sure what's happening. But I know personally for me, I'm going to keep playing, working for myself. I have a few skates with some junior teams coming up.
Yep.
I'm going to keep myself ready to go and play whenever I can. Get ready for the Team Michigan tryouts.
Absolutely. Let's get to know you a little bit, Henry. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, I know you mentioned your most favorite games that you've had. What's like a particular moment that you remember? Like, let's see, like best performance out of a game you think? Just like you just couldn't do anything wrong. Like, what
I
was
thought
it?
I thought my best performance this year was probably our quarterfinal game, playoff game against Clarkston.
Yeah,
I thought really they kind of controlled the game in that time. I thought we played well defensively. Strong we had a strong showing that, but we couldn't really get anything going offensively for us. And they had a lot of offensive chances, and I thought played through it. Their one goal that they got was the one mistake I felt like I had in that game, which was a bad rebound off me, and he just threw it in the back of the net. But other than that, I thought I played amazing that game. I was really happy with my performance.
yeah. Um, do you have a favorite player that you look up to or something like that?
What do you mean by that question? Like pro or?
Pro, anything?
Yeah, when I was younger, I really looked up to like Braden Holtby.
Yeah,
I loved the Capitals when I was younger.
yeah,
Obviously I'm a Red Wings fan, but they were a ton of fun to watch. Holtby was probably my favorite goalie growing up.
yeah. Um, let's see. And finally, what's your go-to place for food? Just this is just in general.
Me, I kind of switch up with the food everywhere. I really like different. places. Olive Garden's probably one of my favorite. You
Yeah.
get good pasta. It's
Yep.
not something that you can, yeah, it's a great place before game. Get some food, just keep it healthy. It's
Absolutely.
nothing really.
Yeah. All right. Well, Henry, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on all the accomplishments this year, and best of luck. Best of luck in wherever you take your hockey career next.
Thank you. I really appreciate you for having me.